When the typical person thinks of Hollywood, they think of fame and fortune, the whirlwind of celebrities, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the celebrity hand and foot cement impressions, Groman's Chinese Theater, the Hollywood sign, and many, many more iconic symbols of glamour representing the rich and famous. However, there is another part of Hollywood with real people who live there. And some of those real people are disadvantaged and marginalized and don't often have the opportunity to reach their potential. If they are given that opportunity to fulfill their goals by living up to their potential, they will become contributing members of their community. This community that cares about sustaining their people's future. One of the ways to do that is to focus on youth ages 6 to 17 and to instill the belief that they can do anything. Whatever it takes to build great futures is the mantra of one very special organization that is also quite iconic. Welcome to Small and Gutsy, our podcast featuring nonprofits and social enterprises under $10 million. My name is Dr. Laura Witkoff, and I'm excited and proud to be your host. We hope you'll love the stories as much as we do, and perhaps you will find needed services, a job, volunteer, invest in, or donate. Small and Gutsy is not just a podcast, but a 501c3 nonprofit. Our vision is to spotlight every smaller nonprofit and social enterprise to raise their visibility. So please help me with our vision and send me any organization you'd like featured at laura@smallandgutsy.org. Since 1937, the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood has provided a safe haven for children to discover, learn, lead, and succeed. It was known at that time as the Boys Club of America, designed to give boys and young men a fighting chance to be successful. There is a tremendous amount of history that leads up to 1987, where the name was changed to include girls, as it was recognized that girls needed that same fighting chance as their male counterparts. I'm not going to comment that it was not until 1987, but it was not until 1987. But we women we're coming up. The Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood's mission is to inspire and enable all young people, especially those from disadvantaged circumstances, to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring adults. The Boys and Girls Club fills the gap between school and home. With so many distractions that can have negative impacts on our youth, this is one organization that gets it right. They inspire their young participants through education and empowerment, contributing to quality education, learning, and leadership opportunities. There are numerous programs that enhance the lives of the many young members. Some of them are Girls Empowerment, Coding, the READS program, which stands for Reading Excellence Always Delivers Success, Anti-Bullying program, the UCLA Music program, and I might get this wrong, the Tietjen Scholarship program, so I'll ask our wonderful guest in a few minutes if I mispronounce that. Great futures, and I'm sure there are many other programs and activities that our guest will share with us that take place at the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood. I am so incredibly excited to introduce my guest today, Mel Culpepper, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood. Mel has over 20 years working with nonprofit organizations, helping them to grow and serve the needs of their constituents. What you may not know about Mel is that she has received national recognition through major television spots on American Idol, showcasing the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood. In 2013, Mel was honored with an award from Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat of Burbank, for inspiring women from communities in the 28th Congressional District. So let's get started. Welcome, Mel. I'd love to hear your passion for what you do and how you got involved with the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood to begin with. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, Laura. I want to make one correction.
Please.
It's been 40 years. I've been working in the...
Excuse me.
I know. I've been working in the nonprofit arena from every level, from domestic violence to homelessness to substance abuse. And now Boys and Girls Club for over 40 years.
All right, so you need to correct that on your LinkedIn, okay?
It's 40 years. Yes, that's true. So yeah, that means I need to update because I missed that. I've been here at Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood for 17 years. I'm very, very proud of the work that I've done here you're right when you speak about iconic. Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood is iconic, celebrating over 87 years. What I like what you said about social impact. You know, we've been called nonprofits for forever, but I really think it's important that we change the narrative to really speak to the depth of our work, the transformative aspect of our work. To just say we're nonprofit does not speak to the invaluable services that social impact organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs have on generations of families and communities. So Hollywood has transformed as well. They went through a revitalization period and a rebuilding period. And Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood was a part of all of that as well. And as that has happened and continues to happen, it's having impact on families, particularly kids and families that are in the Hollywood community. You know, you talk about the glitz and the stardom and the glamour. There is, as you said, a side of Hollywood where real people, everyday working people, try to survive and struggle to survive in the Hollywood community. And the population that is mostly impacted by those struggles and challenges are the children of those families. And that's where we come in. I sort of think of it as putting a safety net around that family through ensuring that their children have a safe place to be after school and during holidays and summer vacation. And that's what we are. You can bring your kids here, drop them off, go to work, and not have to worry. You know that your child is going to be engaged, is going to have opportunities that they may not be able to have, such as you mentioned our UCLA music program. Here at Boys and Girls Hollywood, children are allowed or have the opportunity to have private music lessons free. And would that be possible? I don't think so, given the families that we serve. So these are the opportunities and the possibilities that exist for the children that we serve here at Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood, because we are a social impact organization and we happen to be nonprofit as well.
I love, I really struggled when I was formulating the podcast, originating it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that nonprofit never says quite enough. Nonprofit just means, okay, you're reinvesting this into the community or you're doing some good work, but it doesn't really reflect the level of the work or the concept of having a social impact. And what you said so beautifully is that this is an impact that is generational, that the Boys and Girls Club has been around for 87 years, and it has had an impact not only on the community itself and the changes that Hollywood has encountered, but it's also created changes within families themselves, where there's been contributions then of those members because they have participated. And I actually had the privilege of watching some of the videos on your website of individuals who talk about the impact that they have experienced having gone to the Boys and Girls Club, whether it was the Boys Club back then or then when it became the Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. Having an impact is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing that can change people's lives. And the club has changed people's lives and has changed and morphed with the community itself. And it speaks to the level of care that Hollywood has for the people who live there, because it isn't all glitz. It's all glitz when you're outside looking in, thinking, oh, the Hollywood sign. But you are an iconic organization. So I love that you've had over 40 years of experience in the social impact space. That's what we'll call it, okay? The social impact space, right? I'd love to hear, you've been at the Boys and Girls Club for 17 years. What brought you there? What inspired you to stay, or what inspires you to stay? Because you have really led this organization in beautiful ways. That's clear.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I was inspired to come back home because of my belief in family and in generational transformation. I am a product of a single mom. I was the first person and only person in my family who went off to college, away from LA. I studied psychology. I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to make a difference in the world. And it sent me on a path working in nonprofits as I was going to school to try to pay for school. And that's sort of how I found my way in terms of, oh, this work that I'm doing can make a difference in people's lives. Counseling does make a difference. Talking to people who have gone through trauma, such as battered women, will make a difference. And it is through those opportunities of working and internships that I realized that this was my mission, was to do this transformational, impactful work. And my family was going through our own issues. And one of our major issues was my niece was diagnosed with Down syndrome. And that really pushed me to bring my knowledge of working in the field home to help my family. The interesting thing is I grew up as a Boys and Girls Club kid. So so when we were in after school, again being raised by a single mom, we were in all the after school programs. We were the first kids dropped off and the last to be picked up because my mom worked 3 jobs taking care of us. I know the benefits of after school program, and I knew the benefits of Boys and Girls Club because I had been a Boys and Girls Club kid. And so when I saw the opportunity, and I thought, wow, full circle here, right? You know, but what was different about the work that I had done previously was I was doing what I call life-saving work, such as battered women and children, homeless people, on living on the streets. I've actually, been in situations where some of my clients passed away, been murdered, so I've been in some critical, tough situations. I mean, life and death situations I worked in when I was working in homelessness and domestic violence. But this work is also life-changing and can also, the end result can be positive or negative. Maybe not so much that a person will lose their life, but it could change whether a family makes it or not. The way that I think about it is education has that same element to it. And I try to teach my kids, you can change your life through education. It is the key. And I say, even for me, I came from a family, we didn't have a lot of money and we didn't have all the nice shoes and all the nice clothes and all. No. Single mom trying to make it all happen. But the one thing that we did, and she made sure, was that we went to school every day. The expectation was that you will go to school and you will do well. And if you do, then the opportunities for you become greater. If you don't, without education, without the ability to read and write, do basic math, then the opportunities start to shrink. And it's really that simple. And in that sense, it is life-saving. So when I thought about moving on to Boys and Girls Club, I thought, this is a way that I can continue my professional mission of changing lives. The pathway is education. And then to find out how critical the issue of education is, particularly for Brown and Black kids, and the fact that the numbers show a crisis that we are in and have been in for a while. I mean, now it's on the news. Now it's in the newspapers because of the post-pandemic educational crisis. But the crisis existed before pandemic. And so for me, I'm dedicated to addressing this critical issue and sounding the alarm around the reality that if we don't ensure that our kids are reading and writing, that we are sending them down a path of, it could be disastrous.
You know, your personal story is beautiful. The fact that you are coming full circle is truly just a gift for the Boys and Girls Club, because you are an experience. Not only are you experienced in the nonprofit sector or the social impact sector, but you're experienced having gone to after school programs, particularly at the Boys and Girls Club. So you know the value. You're speaking from experience and from education. And so you come at it from both of those vantage points, which is just amazing. Mm-hmm. I love your message, because your message is twofold. Right. Your message is, you have potential. Everybody who walks through your door, and I feel it from the website, from our conversation, so on and so forth. You walk through the door, and you as a child, whatever age, between 6 and 17, you have potential. It's your choice if you want to maximize that. We're going to help you figure out how to do that, and it's through the path of education. I love that, because it really is not, here we're going to teach you how to read and write and do math. We're going to teach you how to believe in yourself, and here's the pathway to do that. And once you get that, you have the opportunity, so many more doors will open for you than the alternative. So those messages are phenomenal. And I love that you mentioned, by the way, the pandemic, because I appreciate this, because everyone talks about post-COVID and the big divide and so on and so forth. You're like, hello, this existed before the pandemic. Hello, let's scream about it. And I appreciate that. So I love that you said that. It got worse because people, kids were at home. There, were fewer computers. Sometimes kids had to share a computer if they even had one. So I get that, but I love that you said it was even, pre-existent. So when you got there, I'm sure there was a different level of programming. I'd love to hear a little bit about how programs develop, because I'm guessing it's sort of based on a need or what you see. And then I'd love for you to talk about what your current programming is.
So I think when I got here, there was a lot of focus on social recreation. I think that's play as a model of engagement, which made sense to me. It made a lot of sense. It's like the easiest way to get kids to do something is to make it fun and playful, right? There was also things like vending machines here, which I was like, so the whole motto of healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. There was also lots of kids here, but what I felt our program lacked was focus. That's what I thought it lacked, was what are we trying to achieve here? The model, is Boys and Girls Clubs is somewhere to come and sort of get off the streets and again have a good time. But when you're looking at a critical issue like kids not being able to read and write, my attitude shifted to say, wait, no, we've got a calling here. There's an issue in this community. Now, it may not be in other communities. It may not be in Pasadena. It may not be in Santa Monica. But in this community where kids are coming to the door and my staff are identifying kids who are in 7th and 8th grade who are not reading, we got an issue. So what are we going to do about the issue that we currently face at this Boys and Girls Club? We felt as a club and a staff and a leadership team that we needed to change our priorities. Fun was no longer the priority. Education and academic success and achievement became our priority. And we had to figure out how to couch it in the fun, right?
That's beautiful.
Exactly. Because that's what they were used to. That's what kids were used to. They come here to play. They come here to have fun. Nobody wants to do homework. No, nobody wants to, be told that the truth. And to be honest, nobody wants to be told the truth that you're in 6th grade, but you only can read at 1st grade. You don't want to say that to a kid. You don't want to tell the parents that. what a disservice for us not to say it, to not speak the truth. And if we don't, then we set these children up for failure.
Right.
And that I could not live with. My staff could not live. We could not turn a blind eye to what we were seeing every day when we sat down to do the homework. You know, we have a national program called Power Hour, and it is designed to do, it's the time in which you're supposed to get your homework done. It's a little carve out. And the rest of the time you do all the other fun stuff, which is great, art and music. But what we were faced with was when we sat down to do homework with our kids, nothing was happening in an hour.
Right.
We needed
because they didn't have the fundamentals. They didn't have the
They can't even read the instructions of the homework.
Gosh, that's so tragic.
To do our program turned into first trying to read the instructions of the homework. Does the child understand the instructions? If not, how are we going to get them through the homework? And then after the homework, go back to the basics. And we were doing it in 2 languages, English and Spanish, because we had kids who were coming to our program who spoke no English at all. And to this day, we have kids coming from Guatemala and Mexico and there's El Salvador, whatever. Parents come to the country. They get dropped into school, LAUSD. The teachers don't change anything. They just hand them the homework like they would hand their English speaking kid. And that kid is staring at the homework going, what is this? How am I supposed
What do I do?
What do I do? And so that's another thing that I'm very proud of is that my staff are bilingual, bicultural. And that's critical for our success as well.
I love that you really came in seeing that the program had value, but didn't have a path forward to really help these kids in a fundamental way. I had done a podcast a month ago or so. You probably know them, the J3 Foundation.
Yep.
And they really go after kids in 4th grade, thinking that the fundamental of 4th grade learning how to read, if you don't catch them then, it's much harder. But even with your kids that might come in at 7th grade, you still have the opportunity. It's just a harder repair job than at 4th grade. What I thought was really interesting is that they didn't want to shame the kids to say, you're not reading at this level. So they'd have the same topic. So let's say they were reading, a book on whales or whatever. They'd have a topic that was for 4th grade level and for 1st grade level so that they could be at least discussing the same topic. And I thought that was a really interesting concept and idea because kids get shamed so easily by each other and by the rest of the world half the time. So you're giving them keys to the kingdom in a lot of ways. I hate to have an idiomatic expression, but it really is the keys to having a better life if they choose to continue on that path. And the nice thing is it sounds like you've got data that shows that so many of them do. And that's quite remarkable.
And I'm really glad that you brought up the issue of shaming. And we are very, very aware of that whole feeling because oftentimes they come from school carrying that. And you can see it. We see it. We do simple things like when we give out activity sheets or tutoring sheets, we take off the grade. Nobody even knows what grade.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, those are the kinds of simple things you can do. We don't talk about what grade people are in or what grade. We deal with where the kid is at. What level of understanding do they have? Our goal is to instill the love of learning. The love of learning, whatever that is, whether it's reading, whether it's drawing, whether it's music, whether it's basketball, whatever it is, you're going to have to learn it to be successful at it, right? You're going to have to learn basketball to be successful at it, but you're going to have to read. You got to be able to read the rules, so it's at the foundation of everything we do, from chess to Legos is huge here. But you got to understand, you got to be able to understand the Lego, the concept. So it's all about the love of learning what you feel passionate about. And that's what we try to do with everything that we do here at the club.
So share with me some of your programs. I know you have quite a few activities, but just I highlighted a few. I just spoke about a few, but name a few that you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned the music program with UCLA. Absolutely. I mean, it's heavy on my mind because Friday was our annual recital and concert. It is just an amazing moment to see what kids can accomplish in such a short period of time. I'm blown away at these very young kids because they are, 6, 7, 8, 10-year-olds, 12, playing the harp, playing a harp.
Oh, wow.
It's mind blowing, and it's exciting, and it's hopeful, and it's impactful. And then the other piece that really warms my heart and speaks to what you talk about, community and iconic and transformative, is to watch the parents be in awe of their children playing the piano, singing in a choir, having a solo piece in a choir, is impacting her entire family, her brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and uncles, all who came to see the recital, are all impacted by what that young child is doing.
For sure.
How many lives have we impacted on a daily basis when we change how one child walks out of the club with the smile on her face going, I got through that homework today. I did that. And then she goes home and she shares that with grandma, with mom, with dad, other siblings. And she walks into the store in her community different. She's full of pride, of accomplishment, of I matter.
What I know that I read something about coding, which I think is great. I don't know if you offer that. Yeah, share a little bit about that, because it's such a, years ago you wouldn't have had a program like that.
Exactly, and that's about addressing the times, right? Addressing where we are as a society and what the needs are. Is we look at the 21st century workforce. So yes, in addition to some of our traditional programs, we have added things like coding, robotics, and particularly for girls. So because, I'm sure you again heard the acronym STEM. We recognize that as the new trend, but what we often say here at our club is none of that matters if you can't read and write.
I love it. No, I love it. You're very clear.
We recognize that our kids, our community needs to keep its eye on the ball, and that is the fundamentals.
Your core pathway to achieve your mission is about reading, and it's huge. And so it stems from everything else stems from there. So you've got all these amazing programs, but if a kid can't read, they really can't, in some way, they can't fully participate because they're always going to be in a one-down position. Students won't even go and attempt something if they don't feel confident. And once they feel confident through that process of assessment and really growing and seeing changes, I think they often can feel they can do anything.
That's exactly what we see. When we finished the concert on Friday, the staff member came over to me, in tears.
Amazing, right?
It is. And she was saying, remember him, Mel? Remember, Matthew didn't speak a word of English when he got here. And he just played the most magnificent piece on the piano. And then I said, I know. I said every time we have our recital, we're just like,
Right. Well, it's emotional because you've seen those transformations over a period of time, which I often ask in these types of podcasts where there is so much transformation. I ask them in a lot of podcasts, But you just shared an aha moment for this teacher and for you. Could you share maybe one or two other aha moments that were just, I don't know, kind of spoke to your heart in some way?
Mm-hmm. I'll go back to parents too. That's when I know we're doing the right work. We're doing the right work. Like John Lewis says, fighting the right fight. When you sit with parents and they tell you, Laura, that they had almost given up. They weren't sure if their kid would ever read or write, or that their kid would be able to interact well with others, would be able to graduate high school. My aha moment was the mom and dad came to my office and they said, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. Our daughter is going to UCLA. They said it happened because of this Boys and Girls Club. The mother said, we had tried so many places. We had tried many, many places, and it wasn't working. She was autistic, and she said, but you guys had the patience. You guys accepted her for where she was.
Fabulous. Unbelievable.
Just let her be and develop. And look at our daughter now. And we, in those moments of like, we're doing some good stuff here. And I remember this child very well. And we just let her be. And slowly she started to make a next step, and then another baby step. And it took years. She was with us from 6 to 17.
It's amazing.
And she graduated Boys and Girls Club and went on to UCLA. And then now I think she's a senior in UCLA.
It's so great. I mean, it's a beautiful story. These stories are so incredible. And also, I just want to go back to an earlier point you made. It's not just the individual child you've impacted. It's the family. It's the extended family. And let me add one other, which I alluded to in the opening, and you certainly have. It's the entire community. When someone is successful and contributes to the world in the way that this one student is like this, it lifts the entire community, but it does a service for the rest of us get to benefit from their ingenuity and from their intelligence and from their meeting their potential. We all benefit as a society when we lift everybody up.
Another story, as you were talking, I said, oh my God, so much we deal with. And we, only a few months ago, we lost one of our kids to cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
And his brother came to join us for an overnight camp with Katy Perry. It's called the Camp Firework.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he and his brother had attended a couple of sessions of the Camp Firework. We lost his brother a couple of months ago, but my staff, being as brilliant as they are, reached out to Ann and said, we would like the brother to come to camp with us. And if he's ready, and it was one of those things where the aunt said he wants to go, but he's afraid they're going to ask about his brother. And then we said, you know what, we will talk about that. We will, and we will give him the words. We will tell him he doesn't have to talk about anything he doesn't feel comfortable talking about. We want him to come and have a good time at our overnight camp. And I saw his aunt, and she was like, thank you, Mel, so much for taking him. He needs this. He needs it. He's grieving, of course, but his brother loved the camp. This would probably be really good. I mean, in those moments, again, community, embracing, being that net around that family when they need us, and being that second home, and being able to hug the Ann and tell her that, we're here. We also sent money for burial and things like that. We do what we can do, as a social impact.
I love that. I love it. Right.
Yes, it's what you say. Holistic.
Right, holistically, you
Oh,
hold the whole
yeah.
person.
Yes, the whole person.
I'm so sorry for that family's loss because at such a young age, to have that happen is truly, there just aren't any words for that. It's an enormous loss. I love the way you and your staff handled that. I love the way that you reached out to the aunt and said, look, if he's ready. And I love that this child could say, this is what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
And know that this community is going to help surround him with support and that he gets to go to camp and have fun and be at camp. And again, for that child, it's going to hopefully to an extent as much as it can reset that kid to move forward. Yes. It won't 100%, but again, he knows that this place is a safe haven where he gets to be himself in despite of the huge loss that he experienced. So again, I'm in awe and admiration. So Mel, you may or may not know, but toward the end of our podcast, and we've had such an amazing conversation and you are an amazing leader, I always ask around, you're smiling, but it's so true, a round of quick and gutsy questions, and they're just fun. And sometimes we get little pearls of wisdom, and there's no wrong answer. There's no grade, and I mean the grade of like 100 to whatever, not the grade of what grade you're in. I'm kidding. So if you are ready, I will ask my quick and gutsies.
Oh, I love it. Quick and gutsy.
Okay, great. Okay. We'll go for it. Okay.
Yes.
What is at the top of your wish list for the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood? However, it can't be money or funding. What's at the top of your wish list?
That we have an opportunity to impact more kids.
I love that. To grow your population because they're out there. Yep.
I want every kid to be able to read and write. I really do. I really do. So
I love that.
If I could have more kids, that would be my goal for Boys.
And again, I'm just going to highlight, it's not just the kid, it's the family, the extended family, the friend group, it's everything. If you were to think of a song that describes the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. You know what popped in as soon as you said it, so I'm going to go with it. Lean on Me.
Oh, I love that. It's great. It's always the first thing that pops in our head that is the perfect choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, we're here. We're here. When you're not strong, we'll be here. We're going to help you. We're going to do this together. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, you after 87 years, you are that foundation. You're not going anywhere. And that's what's great. And they know
exactly. that. Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. What makes the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood gutsy? Because you're gutsy. What makes you gutsy?
We're willing to say and do what others won't. We're not the only Boys and Girls Club who knows that there's a literacy crisis. We're not the only one. I don't want to say we're the only one, but I know it's rare that anyone has switched gears the way we have. I speak it when funders ask me about it. I speak the truth. So in that sense, I'm gutsy. I'm like, there's a problem. There is a problem. And I'm not going to act like there isn't a problem. I'm not going to just say there's a problem. I'm going to be part of the solution.
What is something that outsiders or maybe even a few insiders don't know about the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood?
That we are more than the assumption of Boys and Girls Club. Because I believe that people still think that Boys and Girls Clubs are the place you go and swim and gym. You play basketball and you hang out and you shoot some pool and you play maybe in a basketball tournament or something like that. I think what people don't know is that we do the work that you and I spent this last hour and some talking about. I think that's what they don't know about us, and that they should know that we are doing the work that will define lives and communities. They think we're just shooting some hoops over here. Yeah.
Right. We want to help you spread that word because I agree. You're so much more and you're fundamental to the success of the next generation. If you could get one celebrity or influencer to endorse or talk about the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood, who might that be?
The person that I believe could truly speak to the message that I hold dear to my heart would be someone like Michelle Obama.
I knew you were going to say that. It was on the tip of my tongue because she is so much about education and empowerment. That's a great, great choice. Of course, I was going to say the head coach who's also on your board, who was famous at Wimbledon, Ann White.
Yes, yeah, that is true.
She's fabulous. She'll laugh when she hears her name. But Michelle Obama is such a good voice.
Yeah, because education was
huge.
So critical for her. And she always talked about it. And she still, I mean, that's how I am. It's like that's my core. That's where it starts. Yeah, you can't avoid it. You can't go around it. It's gotta be, it's foundational.
So, any other last comments or thoughts as we close this podcast? Any other comments or thoughts you want to make? And the other thing is, how do folks reach you? How do people find you?
Well, the one thing, as I spent this time with you, it reminds me how excited and fulfilled I am in my work. When I speak about what I do and how we do it and the decisions we've made, I feel like this is right. This is why I chose to do this work, because it's important for me to leave a legacy of hope and change and possibility for kids like me.
Oh, I'm moved by that because it's really the purpose of the podcast is to celebrate the work you're doing and to have had that impact on you personally after you've given so much of your energy, time, and commitment makes me feel really proud. Proud that you're part of the Small and Gutsy family. Proud that you have established yourself so deeply in the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood and that you've circled back to your roots in a way that you have a legacy. And so it's incredible.
And I welcome anyone who wants to join the Boys and Girls Club Hollywood family. You can reach us on our website, www.bgchollywood.com. Please check us out. If you want to volunteer, our focus, as we've been talking about for this past hour and some, is all around education. So we want people dedicated to that aspect of the work we do. And that's where our volunteers come in and read, side by side with some of our kids who are at that critical level and we need that extra support. So if you have an hour or 2 hours and you want to do some real work and some impactful, transformative work here at Boys and Girls Club, we have students ready and would love the opportunity to have your energy and enthusiasm around reading and writing and building that foundation for those students. So please look us up.
As a shout out for volunteers. It's a shout out. That's
shout
great.
Out volunteers.
I love that you offer that because so many people, certainly people who may be in retirement would love to be able to do that. It's such a gift, right?
That is the perfect age. That's perfect age or opportunity is the retiree, because you're at a different place in your life, and oftentimes you're looking to do something that will really make a difference. And this is the work. it is perfect for retirees.
I love that. Mel, this has been beyond a pleasure. I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed this and learning more about you and the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood and your history that you shared, which is so moving and beautiful. And so I just want to thank you for being part of the podcast and part of the Small and Gutsy family.
Well, thank you, Laura, for the opportunity. It's been really fun. And again, inspiring to just hear myself sort of speak out loud about and you know what, I gotta just say this. Thank you to all my staff. They are the heart and soul of this work. I get to speak about it because I am in the position of the CEO, but the folks who roll up their sleeves every day, sit side by side with the children, make the decisions about who gets what homework and what worksheet and who goes where and who goes to coding or not. And all those important life-changing decisions happen day to day because of the commitment and the passion and the talent of my staff. Hats off to them. Kudos to them. It would not happen without them. They are amazing. They are the trailblazers. They really are.
Please go to smallandgutsy.org to check out all of our episodes. And if you are so inclined, please purchase some Small and Gutsy merchandise, consider sponsoring an episode, or making a donation. Both are tax deductible to help keep us going and spotlighting these great organizations. The opinions and viewpoints expressed by our guests are independent and do not reflect the position or views of Small and Gutsy. Of course, we can't take responsibility outside of our own vetting of the organizations we interview, so before you sign on to support or work for them, we encourage you to do your own due diligence and research them as well. I want to thank my partners in this endeavor, the Intrinsic Group, my incredible board of directors, Tracy Brown, John Gatto, Lucy Mello, Serena Rajabian, and Melissa Greitz, who believed in me in this project enough so to sign on to support this effort, and all the folks, friends, and family who have guided and inspired me. And thank you for listening. Together, we are spreading social impact, and you can help us. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. From small and gutsy to big with impact, I'm Laura Witkoff, and thanks for listening.